skills, and the topic, as you can see, is notice. Okay, so today we are going to study about notice writing. I think all of you, आप सबने न्यूज़पेपर्स में, अपने स्कूल बोर्ड्स में और क्लासरूम बोर्ड्स में, you must have seen notices of all kinds at there. So you must be somewhat aware of what is a notice. Notice basically, now let us first of all, before we begin, we can see this example, this sample of a notice on this slide. And here, as you can see, that we have in bold letters the word notice is written, and this is a notice of Modern School, Bara Khamba Road, New Delhi, right? So let us see, first of all, let us read what is being given in this notice. Attention, music lovers. The school is hosting the 6th Inter-School Musical Carnival for classes 6th to 9th on April 10th, 2012 at Indian Habitat Center, Lodi Road at 9 a.m. All the talented students with gifted voices may appear for the audition to be conducted in the presence of Mrs. Bela Shinde, the well-known singer, on March 22, 2012 at 9 a.m. in the school auditorium. For further details, contact the undersigned Secretary Music Club. Now, if you look carefully at the image, or all the phrases, all the words that I have underlined, they carry a very important meaning to the notice. Like they are the important piece of information that we are having in the notice. So by now, I think all of you must have got this idea that notice is all about, that notice is all about this thing that you have to give a very important piece of information. कुछ important information जब आपको देनी होती है, and to a larger section of people, then we use the concept of notice. Okay, so now let us see what all things we are going to cover in this today's lecture. Now the first thing is what is a notice, जिसका अभी हमने एक brief discussion किया, what is a notice. Then there are many types of notices. There are many types of notices. Basically, we will learn about in the later part of the lecture. Why is it required? As I have mentioned you that notice is basically about this thing that we have to convey an important piece of information. And examples of notices in everyday life. Basically, the need of including notice in your syllabi is this, that notice is a very, बहुत ही common piece of information giving medium है, that is required in everyday life. So that is why notice inclusion किया जाता है in the syllabus of secondary to senior secondary classes. And then there are these key points that you need to remember while we are writing a notice. Okay, so when we talk about now, before we begin on this thing, let us see that how much marking scheme is being, how much marks are being included for notice in the syllabi. And notice generally, a notice writing question would come for around 4 marks in your paper. And again, there are demarcation, dividation of these 4 marks. Like 1 is for format, and 2 marks is for content, and 1 each is for spelling and grammar. That is your accuracy. So that means आपका जो format है notice का, that should also be very appropriate. मतलब आपको format के भी marks मिलते हैं. तो इसलिए you need to be very careful while you are writing notice कि आपको जो format है, जो पूरा उसका structure है notice का, it should be proper and according to the rules. Okay, apart from the content is an important thing, but apart from the content, these 3 things, format and then spelling, then grammar, these things also have to be taken into account. Okay, so now let us see what is a notice actual, what is a notice actual. Let us define it. So the definition of notice says a notice is a means of communicating information. So can you see the word communicating? So communicating means जब हमें किसी को बताना है, okay? So ये जो concept है बताने का, और क्या बताना है, that is the information, ठीक है? In a written or printed form. So आजकल written, तो that means you must have seen in your school societies and all that thing. So that is a thing you all must have seen in your school notice boards or in your societies notice boards कि कुछ भी important information convey करनी होती है to everyone, to the residents, to the students. तो एक वो common notice board होता है जिसपे different तरीके के notices लगाए जाते हैं. Okay, so it is intended for a large audience and convey information related to an upcoming event. Now this is important when we are talking of upcoming event, okay? Upcoming event means that something that is going to happen, मतलब जो अभी हुआ नहीं है obviously, और जो अभी होने वाला है, right? So this gives you an important point कि जो आपके notices, when you are going to frame your notices, they should not be in the past tense, okay? Why? Because we are talking about future events, right? We are talking about future. We are talking about future happenings. Something that is going to be something that is going to be conducted in future, right? So this thing is important, that calls for the correct use of tense in notice, right? This is very important. This calls for the correct use of tenses. जैसे कि आर्टिकल राइटिंग में होता है या लेटर राइटिंग में होता है, यू कैन switch over or you can move over from one tense to another depending on your explanation. But notice is having this kind of concept that calls for the use of a particular tense. Now coming to the format of a notice, which is very important. This part is quite important from perspective of your exams, because as we have seen, it carries marks, okay? And I can assure you students that with ample practice, आप जब daily practice करेंगे तो notice is a basically short, simple and easy to master topic. मतलब अगर आप if daily practice करते हैं, then you would be able to write it properly in the proper format. So first of all, let us see the first point that is being talked about is a notice is always written inside a rectangular box. I think that all of you can see this. So this is the kind of box that you have to make on the sheet of paper or on with whatever sheet of paper you are writing. आप इसको just from the left or to right hand corner पे नहीं लिख सकते हैं, like other things, जैसे आप letter लिख रहे हैं and articles लिख रहे हैं. For all these kind of things you don't need to draw anything, but for notice and for message writing also you have to draw a rectangular box. So this is the very first important point, that you have to be careful. Now second thing is it carries the name of the institution in the center of the box. Now coming to the first image that we have seen now, can you see this thing? Sorry, can you see this thing that we are having here? Modern School, Barakhamba Road. Okay, so if you can see this thing, Modern School, Barakhamba Road. Now this means that this notice is being given by whom? By this particular school, okay? The Modern School, Barakhamba Road. So this particular, the name of the authority, issuing authority, जिस authority ने notice issue किया है, the name of that authority should be in the center of the box, right? That is one thing. And the entire name, if the name is given, if a complete name is given, like ये school है या college है या कोई society है, then you have to give the complete name in the center of the box. Okay, now let us try to see what is the other point that is asking for. The word notice follows after this in capital letters. So this is again very important, that the word notice in big bold letters, you have to write the word notice. And one thing, if students, you are able to see that all the letters of the word are written in capitals. Okay, so this is another important thing that you have to keep in mind, capital letters. Okay, and mind you beta, all these things carry marks, right? So you can see this box. Can you see this box? Okay, so this is this rectangle box that we were talking about and you can see that your entire content, ये आपका जितना भी overall your content, entire content is within this box only. Okay, you don't have to write anything outside the box, that would be wrong, and you have to complete everything within the box, right? So the one thing that we have understood is that the name of the issuing authority is to be in the center, and then the word notice will be coming in capital letters. Okay, now coming to the third point, can you see this? Right, so this is date on which notice is written. Okay, notice is issued basically. ये वो डेट नहीं है जिसपे आप कोई अपकमिंग इवेंट ऑर्गेनाइज करने वाले हैं बेसिकली, क्योंकि नोटिस का जो इन्फॉर्मेशन होता है वो इवेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से ऑब्वियसली पहले होगा. सो दैट डेट वुड बी बिफोर हैंड, राइट? सो अगर हमारा कंपटीशन जैसे कि मार्च 22 को है, तो जो हमारी डेट है, दैट द डेट इज ऑफ मार्च 20, दैट इज बिफोर हैंड. एंड कैन यू सी केयरफुली दैट इट इज कमिंग इन द लेफ्ट हैंड कॉर्नर ऑफ द पेज, राइट? ऐसा नहीं है कि आप डेट को यू कैन राइट इट हेयर और यू कैन राइट डेट हेयर, नो, that would be wrong. No, okay, so date would always come here, and obviously you can write it any format. Either you can write it March 20 2012, or you can also write in this format. Okay, this would also be correct, right? But the date is always to be in the left hand corner of the page, right? So now coming to this thing, now coming to another point that we have to show is the date of issue that we have discussed. The subject of notice, right? Subject of notice, short, catchy. Basically you have to give very eye catching caption. अगर नोटिस किसी कंपटीशन या ट्रिप या इवेंट के बारे में बात कर रहा है, राइट? ऑब्वियसली दीज आर वेरी cheerful things for students and people, मतलब something that we all enjoy, right? So आपका जो caption होना चाहिए, right? Your caption should also be very eye catching for these kind of events. And one thing more, it should not be lengthy, short. You can keep it to 5 to 6 words, that would be enough, right? If you know what happens, अगर आप किसी चीज़ को लॉन्ग कर देते हैं, अगर आपका कैप्शन बहुत लॉन्ग है, तो then the what would be the thing, it would look boring, right? तो बेसिकली नोटिस के अंदर यू हैव टू राइट शॉर्ट, कैची एंड आई इंटरेस्टिंग कैप्शन, राइट? समथिंग दैट कैचेस योर आइज. लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर अभी हम यहाँ बात कर रहे हैं ये सिंगिंग कॉम्पिटिशन की, सो कैन यू सी द यूज ऑफ अटेंशन, that everybody be alert, right? And then we can see this mark also, we can use this exclamatory mark. And then music lovers. Okay, now if you want to give another call to all young singers, right? Call to all budding musicians, right? मतलब any budding artists. But and then use of these exclamatory marks, these looks good, right? If we are talking about a trip or an excursion or a picnic, then we can after 1 or 2 words we can use this mark, right? After one or 2 words we can use this mark, right? So this is the thing. Now coming to this point, now coming to the next point, right? Content, left hand, date, place, time and venue for the event. So now coming to the content, if you see all these things, right, your content is starting from the left hand होगी, right? The school is hosting the 6th inter school, whatever your content is. And now coming to, as we have already underlined it, now for the kind of classes आप किन के लिए organize कर रहे हैं, that is being coming. Then आपका date, okay, and then this thing, the place where this carnival or with this competition would be organized, and then this thing, the entire address of this thing and the time. So now what all things we have included? We have included date, right? We have included place, we have included venue and time. So you know, these 4 things are very much important in any notice: date, place, venue and time, right? So these 4 should always be included in the notice. And sometimes what does happens, like these things, the information about these things like date, place, venue, time, all these are given in the question, ठीक है? So you have to copy as it is from the question, कि अगर आपको question में date, place, venue, time given है, तो आपको वो as it is ही अपने notice में include करना होगा. You don't have to make any changes. But if these things are being not mentioned, only about the this thing competition is being mentioned, then it is obvious कि आपको ये सब चीजें you have to include on your own, ठीक है? So that is your choice. You can give any venue, any place, any time, any date. But yes, you know, the date should be after the date on which you are writing the notice, because as we have discussed earlier, that notices are already about an upcoming event. तो अगर आप पीछे के इवेंट के बारे में नोटिस, अगर आपने डेट गलत पुट ऑन कर दिया उसमें, तो obviously that would call for a deduction of marks, right? So उसके apart में this information is important, that auditions कहाँ पर हो रहे हैं, right? So you can write this thing, that obviously because ये audition है, तो you can mention about the judge, जैसे कि इसमें it is mentioned Mrs. Bela Shinde, the well-known singer, on this date and in the school auditorium, right? For further details, contact the undersigned. Now undersigned word से क्या मतलब है हमारा? Now you know what happens sometimes, students, कि the notices basically come in the form of these kind of questions, like you are suppose Varun Gupta, comma, head boy of this school, Barakhamba Road, New Delhi, right? So if the name is given in the question, then you have to carry the same name, right? अगर आपको name given है तो आपको वो same name carry करना होगा question, right? वरुण मल्होत्रा, ठीक है? और आपका designation भी दिया हुआ होता है. This is your designation. Designation means कि आप basically आपकी post क्या है, from what kind of post you are writing that particular notice, okay? So आपका designation दिया हुआ होता है उसमें, and then music club. So you could be head boy, you could be prefect, you could be secretary, and you could be anything. And if it is given in the question, then you have to replicate the same. आपको same उसमें लिखना होगा. But if it is not given, then you need to add. But in majority of the questions, the details are being given, right? So now coming to this thing, okay? So we have discussed what all format is mandatory with this thing, the notice. And the last was authorized signatory. Authorized signatory means the person who is in charge of issuing the notice because of the post. मतलब जो person in charge है, जो person उस particular position पे है, and he is having the authority to issue the notice. Because अगर कोई formal notice है तो it cannot be issued by everyone. Like अगर आपने अपने school में देखा होगा कि on the notice board, if there is any notice about the upcoming school meeting for the prefects and for captains and for other students, तो उसमें basically जो notices रहते हैं, they carry the name of the principal or vice principal or some senior authority, right? So authority, the person of authority can only issue the notice, and so the name of the person is being mentioned, right? at the end of the notice, and the designation of that person. Whatever designation that person is carrying on, he or she could be principal, vice principal, captain, school captain, if it is a notice of school thing. And if we are referring to a notice about a housing society, then secretary of the housing society, anyone basically, right? And in the end, you can use your signatures. And so from this point to this point, right? The third point, fourth, and okay, one thing that we have, the subject of the notice, it should also cover in the center, right? In the center of the box, right? In the center of the box, you have to write the notice. Oh, sorry, you have to write the caption. Again, we can have a look at this thing that now if you look here, attention music lovers, the position of these words are exactly in the center of the box, right? आपको बिल्कुल center of the box में you have to give the caption so that it looks neat. Now if you look at this entire sample, the format makes the notice look neat and concise. Concise means it has to be very up to the mark in terms of information. No extra information, कुछ भी extra information, कुछ भी imaginative you don't have to add, like in letters and in long answer questions such as article writing. That calls for our imagination. कि हम, for example, we have visited this place and we are writing so and so about this thing in detail. But when it comes to notice or writing or message writing, we have to be very concise. That means we have to be very careful that our word limit doesn't exceed 50 words, right? More than 50 words are not allowed in notice. That is a very important piece of point that you have to remember, that a notice should only be of 50 words, right? Within 50 words, you have to convey your entire information. And earlier negative the marks were used to be deducted when and even now also because that is this word limit is being mentioned in the question. So you have to be very careful. आपको बहुत careful रहना है कि it shouldn't exceed 50 words. So whatever information you are trying to convey, you have to convey in 50 words. At that time, notice used to come off around five marks also, 5 marks, yeah. But now a pattern has caused a change. The CBSE changed the pattern, so 1 mark is being less, so it is only a 4 marks now. But yes, it is very scoring. अगर आप अच्छे से इसको प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, फॉर्मेट पे फोकस करते हैं, एंड आपका कंटेंट अप टू द मार्क होता है, मतलब इट इज़ वेरी शॉर्ट, it is concise. Short and concise doesn't mean that you will neglect the information. No, that is the wrong thing. For example, abhi humne we have discussed this thing about this inter-school music competition, singing competition. So 50 words ka doesn't mean that we should include this, we should exclude this information. We are not mentioning date, we are not mentioning time, we are not mentioning for whom it is meant, classes, and we are not mentioning the other details like the who is going to be the judge. No, ये सारी जो details है we have to compile within 50 words. So this is a bit challenging, but with practice, but with enough practice, you would be able to do it within 50 words. Now coming to this thing, so now in where this is basically the thing that we have discussed till yet. Name of the issuing agency, okay, it is in the, I just wanted to show you in this format that this is the kind of box that we draw, and it looks neat and clean if you draw it properly with the help of a scale. I remember like when I was giving my boards, like these things were very important, and I was very careful. So we always and our English ma'am made it very clear that your paper should look very neat. because it gives a good impression. So we used to draw it with a ruler only. ऐसा नहीं है कि just like that we are drawing the lines in a zigzag way, and no. So this also carries marks. Now so your box has to be proper basically. uh, so if you see it carefully, it doesn't it looking neat? Yes, obviously it is looking neat and it's looking good. So it's better if you draw it with a scale, and draw it as much as you think that you would be able to write 50 words properly. मतलब giving by giving space. ऐसा नहीं हो कि it should look very shabby, that you are just to save the space you are writing the without leaving any gap, you are writing the words. No. So the one thing is that it should be within the box. Now in this point we have discussed the name of the issuing agency, right? It should be given to you in the question only. So again, it is coming, as you say, it is coming in the center of the box. It is neither here, it is nor in the right, it is exactly in the center. Then after some gap, you have to leave some gap. Please you be very careful with these things. Proper gap should be there. ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब एकदम ही उसके नीचे लिख दिया है, so it is looking very kind of weird. No. Then some gap should be there. Then notice word, again it should be in capital letters as we have discussed. Okay, and again it is in center, as you can see. So both these things are in the center of the box. Then date of issue, release of the notice, and again date of issue means on the date on which you are writing, right? जिस डेट पे आप लिख रहे हैं उस डेट को आपने मेंशन करना है नोटिस में, here in the left hand side, right? This is your left hand corner. So it should not be here कि आप यहाँ डेट लिख रहे हैं. No, it would be wrong. It should always be here and just from the starting of the box. Then again some gap. Can you see? The gap is always there, right? After one thing, after one key point, there is some gap. Then second point, and then third, fourth. So the gap is very important, right? Then coming to the title and subject of the event, as we have discussed, it should be very catchy, interesting, and brief. So don't forget to be brief, okay? And don't use full sentences, and don't give a punctuation mark of a full stop. No, you can use this, right? Exclamatory marks are good for giving the caption. They make the captions look catchy, interesting. No full stops, because full stop means that you are writing a complete sentence, and no, we don't write title and subjects like this. Now coming to the body again. Okay, and body, date, time, duration. That means if it is a trip, for how long you are going. For example, you are from 22nd of March to 5th of March, like this. And then place and venue. Okay, and any other information like in the competition we have mentioned about the judge, so this you can mention also. And in the end again, in the if you see it is if you check it, all these are coming in the straight line and left hand corner, right? So the sign of authorized signatory, name, designation, and in the end signature. Okay, so these are important things that you have to keep in mind. Now we can again just give a quick recap of till now what we have studied. The first thing is a notice should be short and crisp. Now this was the entire crux of the lecture that I was trying to convey to you, that your notice has to be very short and crisp, not more than 50 words, because after 50 it will become big problematic, because there can be deduction of marks, because these things, the format, the examiners are very particular with the format that you are using to write a notice. It should not carry any extra information. Whatever information it is being given in the question, just include that. If date, time, place, and venue are not mentioned, no worries, you can add on your own, and one or two lines just related to the event, upcoming event, if you wish to give. because your word limit is 50 only. Okay, so within 50 it is manageable. Language use should be simple and up to the point. Now this is very important. You know what sometimes happens ki, just to showcase skill or learning, we sometimes use very heavy word, बहुत heavy words use करते हैं, and very ornamental kind of language. So that is not required here. Okay, it is not required here. Language should be simple, easy, and again I am emphasizing on the thing concise, right? Language should be simple, easy, and concise. So these things are important. Instead of these things, very heavy or flowery language is not required कि आप बहुत heavy words use कर रहे हैं. Okay, because you basically notice is just a piece of giving information. So information आप जितना ज़्यादा simple language में देंगे, जितना ज़्यादा easy language में आप provide करेंगे, it would reach to its target audience. Okay, and that is the important uh, important aspect of writing a notice. It should be written in a box. This we have already discussed, that we have written in a box. Now coming to this thing, types of notices. Now basically these kind of notices you can get in your questions paper. So these are important from exam point of view. Lost and found, for example, we used to, during my school days, like we used to have a particular section. एक section होता था, उसमें वो proper lost and found notices लगते थे. जैसे कि if somebody has lost his ID card or his book or anything, or if somebody has found an ID card or a book or any important papers lying in the school corridor or in the college premises, anywhere. So people used to put up to the notice board, so that the person, the owner of these things should come and get them. So lost and found notices are again an important kind of notices, and the format is the same. And it was just one thing that when we come to the caption, we cannot give any engaging or interesting caption in this case. So here you just write lost. If you are writing about the anything that is being lost, like this only you write. You don't write yeah, you can add the word attention also, right? Attention is something is right, that something, so that someone you have lost. This I am talking about the caption thing. And if you have found, then you can use the words other found, or otherwise it's just simple that you can write lost and found. Okay, lost and found, that is it. So in this case you cannot write an engaging caption because the notice is about only lost and found things. Now here, school, college, event and competition, here the subject calls for this thing only, this thing, competition, trips, etc. So here you have to be as we have heard, engaging. Okay, यहाँ पर you can show your creativity. If you are mentioning, suppose, for a trip, so make your notice interesting, so that most of the students are willing to go on that particular trip. Like you can write fun, unloaded. Okay, then give an exclamatory mark, then you can add something, fun, unloaded, don't miss the golden opportunity, right? So these are kind of things that require what do we have? Yes, interesting captions. Now coming to the another thing, that is this thing, the social cause. Social causes, the notice is like when there is a sort of the blood donation camp is being organized in your school. Okay, so when we are talking about social cause notices, so we have this thing, blood donation camp. Okay, so here there are certain words that you can use that come be a part of the noble cause. Okay, in the caption I am telling you, be a part. Okay, be a part of noble. Sorry, all this has to be in capital only. I just write it down like that, of noble cause. Or you can make it a bit short also. ठीक है. Nobility, you can just write be a part of nobility, right? So social causes में these kind of notices come when there's a blood donation camp, or when you are, organizing some charity drive. For example, you are going to visit an NGO and you are asking for donations, in the form of clothes, books, or anything that the students would like to contribute. Then these kind of notices are there. So basically, these notices are, referring to some social causes that you can contribute to. So you can add lines these that be a part of this noble contribution, okay, and play your role as a enlightened citizens. So these are some common lines that can be used in these kind of notices. Then the other thing is name change notices. Now this I would like to say that if you people are in the habit of reading newspapers, otherwise personally I will suggest that being students of English language, please do read English newspapers daily. This was my one habit that I am still continuing. Like I started from my school days and I just, read. And I must say with full faith that this one habit of yours will definitely bring very, very good improvement in your learning of English language. Like if you want to learn and speak English fluently and use it nicely, then I would suggest that please do read newspapers, English newspapers. Okay, now coming to this thing, name change, these kind of notices generally you would find in newspapers. Like if you go to the fifth or sixth page of newspapers, there are newspapers that carry the heading name change and where people have changed their names. So they have published this thing in the newspapers. So for basically it is done, for legal purposes, and that notice is being published in the newspaper so that it serves as a proof that you have a legal proof that you have changed your name. Then there are certain legal notices you must have seen in the newspapers or on online also, that there are legal notices like given by banks to defaulters and other, like who have who are not able to pay, loan defaulters, like for example, who are not able to pay the money. So these kind of notices carry a legal aspect. And then government notices, when you have certain notices that from today, sorry, on this particular date there would be a power cut in your area. So you must have seen in the newspapers that when governments give this thing, these kind of information to people, right? Now coming to this thing, this was a question, right? It was a question. And now let us see what the question is saying. You are Ruhi and Rahul. Ruhi, the girls student would be writing Ruhi, and obviously the boy student would be writing Rahul. So you are Ruhi, Rahul, head girl boy of ABC Convent School. Your school is going to organize an inter-school singing competition. Write a notice for your school notice board inviting names of all the interested students. Now, this is very much like the first sample that we have seen. Just have a quick look at what details it has been mentioned. The ABC Convent School. Okay, so this is the title of the issuing authority, right? Then some gap is being there. Then the word notice. Okay, the word notice is being there, and as you can see, all are in capital, right? ABC Convent School notice, and then this is the date again in the left hand corner, and this is the basically the box. It's sorry, it is being drawn like this, but you obviously you have to draw with the help of a ruler, right? So this is the date that you have to write mention in the left hand corner. Then inter school singing competition. Now this is your subject. If you wish, you can try to make it more catchy by using punctuation marks as we had discussed. Okay, call for all the budding singers. Then just this thing. Our school is organizing an inter-school singing competition on March 19th. Now you can see date, okay, day, time, and place, venue. All are being given, right? And this is one extra line, the one extra information that you can wish to convey. More than 20 schools from all over the city will participate. Now, what the notice is being asking, that interested students may contact the undersigned latest by March. By which date you have to contact, right? Right, and then this comes in the end. If you see, Ruhi, Rahul, head girl, boy. Okay, so this is the designation that you are being given. So this is the kind of this thing. One thing more that we have discussed in in the format is this thing that we have discussed, that yes, the notice has to be in the present tense. Okay. Okay, so one thing is that please don't use, don't use pronouns like I, me. No, this is wrong. You have to use present tense and you have to use only third person pronouns, right? If you are talking about this thing, then you have to use only third person pronouns like he, she, they, we, okay, etc. So this is a strict no. I, me, myself, this is a strict no. So if we again have a look at this thing, okay, so if we see here, the pronoun that is being used, our school, right? We have not used that my school, okay, I school, no. Third person pronoun is compulsory, and if you see at the tense, we are using the tense present continuous. Okay, we are not using our school was organizing, yeah, our school organized. No. Why? The simple reason being that the information that notice conveys is about an upcoming event. Okay, so I hope all these things will help you in writing a proper and exact notice, and I sincerely hope that you will try some questions, and you can mention the answers in the comment box, and if there are any doubts also, please do mention in the comments box, and if you like the video, please do like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you.